So, welcome. Today we have myself, James Bryden, Kate de Jong, who is an accomplished podcaster and author with us, and also Maro Davidi, who is an expert counselor specializing in relationships. And today we're going to be talking about self-awareness with Kate. So perhaps we could start by asking you, Kate, what is self-awareness? How would you
Mm.
describe it?
Um, I describe it as the ability to understand oneself and how we are perceived by others.
Hmm. And how does that look in practice?
Yeah, so it's very interesting because one of the researchers I always refer back to is a lady called Dr. Tasha Eurich, and she studied self-awareness as part of her PhD research. And it was a study of thousands, I think maybe up to 3,000 people, and she was looking for trying to understand what are the qualities of a self-aware person. And of the 3,000 people that she studied, 95% of those people said that they thought they were self-aware. When she developed the metrics for what a self-aware person is, and it turns out that only 10 to 15% of all those people interviewed actually were considered to be self-aware.
Right. Okay. And
95,
what,
sorry.
yeah, and what would those metrics be?
Yeah,
How
good
would you
question.
describe them?
She didn't actually divulge so I've just watched her TED Talks, and she's published a book on it. I should probably I need to get a copy of that. But if I think about my own personal experience with self-awareness, it's someone who we all, I think, have an understanding of how we want to show up and try to show up, but whether we are perceived by others in that way is where the self-awareness comes in my experience. And
Yeah.
my perfect example of that was probably back in my engineering career when we did the 360-degree assessments with colleagues. And I was a manager at the time. I had a team under me and people above me. And we did this 360-degree assessment. And I was quite surprised at the results because how I thought I was showing up is not how others were perceiving me.
Yeah, it's a bit scary when that happens, isn't it? Confronting.
Yeah. Yes. And so that was a bit of a journey for me to understand, wow, okay, so I'm um yeah, I'm not aware of how other people are experiencing me. And that's when I realized I really wasn't very self-aware at all. And I don't think I'm still, part of the 10 to 15% that truly are self-aware, but I think I'm on the journey and I've come a long way.
Mhm.
So it's the qualities are someone who um, there's an alignment between how you are internally and externally, but also there's a really deep, um, what do you call it? I call it the inner observer. Like you have this ability to observe yourself in situations. So you're not immersed in for example, a conflict situation. I used to be so just immersed in that situation that I would react to what's coming at me. Now I can sort of create a bit of distance, take a few deep breaths, and observe myself in that moment. And then I observe the emotions rising, and I'm asking myself questions about, okay, I'm feeling an emotional response here. Is that is that because this person is, or is it my stuff? And 90% of the time it's my stuff that I'm getting triggered by something. Um, and which is creating a desire to respond in a certain way to the other person. But if I'm able to create that distance and then take a pause and a breather, then I can sort of self-regulate and come back with a much more calm and regulated response. Does that make
Yeah, it does. I mean, I remember when I was a kid, my parents telling me before you react to somebody, count to 10,
Mhm.
and it gives you that space. Not that I did it. I
Yeah,
didn't. I still don't to a degree, but that
yeah,
was actually good advice based on what you're saying there.
yeah,
And I guess also there's a fairly, I would imagine there's a fairly strong correlation between that's self-observer and emotional intelligence. Would
Yes.
that be?
I think so, and I'd love to hear Mauro's perspective
Yeah,
because I think someone who's self-aware is aware of their own emotional terrain and how much is their own stuff that's unhealed and that they're just responding to versus and noticing what things are in them that need to be healed and doing the work to heal those things. So you can come to a place where you're quite neutral, you're confident and secure in yourself, and you're not reactive because all the things that you would normally get triggered by, which are, in my experience, trauma-based, and Mauro, I'm sure much more about this than I do, then it's someone who's done a lot of work to heal all the things that would trigger you to have these emotional responses, such that you ultimately stay very calm and neutral in a conflict sort of situation or any situation.
yeah. That's a good time to bring Mara into the
Hmm.
conversation.
Mm.
Over to you, Mara.
Well, no, I like the introspective conversation that you were making right now. I like the fact that when you say, that you need time to understand yourself, and you couldn't see it how other people perceived you. But this is what I think is people perceive us in a way that we perceive ourselves. Okay.
Yeah,
So how when you look yourself in the mirror, what do you see? So this is the question. What do you see? Um, do you see a person that is capable, or you see a person that um, is very shy and not many friends around, and your self-esteem is down? So it's not what we wear, but how we wear it.
Mm-hmm.
mm,
Yeah. So with my client, usually I talk about self-confidence and self-esteem, and I talk about self-perception.
right. Okay, that's an interesting point, that self-esteem. Um, and a lot of people struggle with how do I learn to love myself? How do I learn to accept myself? How do I learn to be comfortable in my own skin? And in my experience, it's been a very, very difficult journey. How would you sort of, you know, frame that in terms of
Well,
a
well,
solution?
let's have a look at what you achieve in life. So, what do you achieve in life? What was your life? Have a look around you and write down all the things that you have done, and think about yourself. What is for you all of this? What did it mean for you?
Mm,
And remember when we did a podcast, me and you, James.
yes,
I challenge you about the conversation about what happened in Indonesia,
Indeed. Yeah, you
and you
did.
were playing, and you were playing down the achievement that you actually did. You became a star over there. Okay, you don't want to recognize that.
Is my face turning red?
He
Yeah.
still has trouble recognizing that.
Actually, I'm a
So,
lot further along than I was, I can tell you. Yeah,
Mm.
so
yeah.
the question is, who is talking about these things? He's the kid that couldn't show up their achievement because otherwise could have been insulted, can be bullied, can become a problem for himself, or it's better keep everything under very quiet because we don't have to be so loud about what we achieve. Who is the man that actually recognize what you have done? So, because we have different stages, okay? We have a child, we have a teenager, we have the adult inside us. 3 stages, okay? So, what in what stage you talk about would you achieve?
You're
Who
asking me.
who who do you want to protect when you talk about these things? You know?
Well, I don't have any trouble talking about it now, but as an adult, yeah,
Yeah.
now, now,
Now, But a few months ago, when we were talking about
more in the lower end of the scale, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is self-awareness. Hey, I went big in Indonesia.
Mm-hmm.
I was on the newspaper. Everybody were asking about me. I was a superstar. There's nothing wrong being aware of that and talk about that.
No.
So your self-esteem come from that, come from the achievement, come from how you look yourself in the mirror. You know,
Yeah.
and journaling. I think journaling is the best way to do it. Journaling. What is the achievement that you're going to take in the next year? And what you achieved the last year? Have a look.
Yeah. I have.
Yeah.
I have. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's interesting because what you're saying, Mauro, is kind of very different to what I was saying. And I'm so curious about the interface because I completely understand what you're saying about how we perceive ourselves and how we feel about ourselves is how we show up in the world. So if we're feeling, that we're not good enough and we're not recognizing those achievements and then we're showing up less confident, less sure of ourselves, and then people perceive us that way. And I see that all the time, and like you are with quite often having conversations with clients about, but you've done this and you've done that, and when they're not recognizing their own achievements or not standing in their power, and I find that's a very common conversation I'm having with coaching clients is just look at all these things you've done, look at all these skills you developed. You are worthy of this role or this, this rate that you want to charge or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So that's one thing. But then the other thing, the thing that I had was I was showing up in my mind as a confident professional woman, but then when this 360-degree assessment came back, I don't know if you're familiar with the LSI assessment. Is anyone?
Yes.
Yeah.
I am. Yeah. Yeah.
Right. And so you basically are trying to have all these blue qualities, which are collaborative, cooperative, and I did have a lot of blue. So I fared very well on all the qualities that were considered a good leader, but I had almost zero red, which is sort of the dominant behaviors. And then I had lots of green, way more green that was considered healthy. And the green behaviors were passive behaviors. And that shocked me a lot that I was doing these, not passive aggression, but the fact that people were registering me as having passive behaviors made me go, oh, and no dominance, and
Compliant.
totally compliant. Yeah. And that was like, whoa. So how I perceive myself as being this strong woman is not how I'm being perceived in the workplace, sort of thing.
Yeah.
And that was the bit where I went, I'm not very self-aware, and I've got to do some work to figure out what are those passive behaviors that I'm showing and how do I, balance that? How do I come more over to the more dominant side, sort of thing? So that's sort of the self-aware. I think there's two sort of intertwined thing, isn't there? There's this self-confidence, self-esteem thing where you're right. People respond to how you feel about yourself. Because the overconfidence is also really off-putting, isn't it? When someone's overly confident and you're sort of like, ugh, calm down. Or so there's that self-esteem, self-confidence piece. But then the self-awareness part, I believe, is those sort of blind spots where you're not aware of how other people are perceiving your behaviors around you. And does that make sense?
Absolutely, it does. Yeah. Yeah. And that's why these things like LSI and Harris and whatever are very good, because it visually shows you this
Yeah.
is what you've told us.
Yeah.
And often it's people's first introduction to this type of self-awareness that we're talking about,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yes.
And that's something, well, I'm willing to challenge my assumptions around all of this about
Yeah.
myself. Yeah, it's so they're really good tools for that sort of thing, I think. coupled with good counselling.
Yeah, but can someone think? I understand your point, Kate, but
Mhm.
how other people perceive us
Mhm.
um, is how we show up. And sometimes they perceive us in the way that in the state they are at the moment. Okay, and depends what is the style, what is the place where they look at you. Okay, so the thing is, it's not about them. It's about you. How do you perceive yourself within them?
Mm. Mm.
So, because if me and you work together,
Mhm.
okay, and you are my direct competitor, okay, and we are going to run for the same spot,
Mhm.
okay, a high raise, a high paid position, okay. To me, you are my competitor.
Mm.
So to me, it's easy to see all your flaws, and your bad things. So I'm going to start to tell you that you are passive aggressive. So the things that someone say that you're passive aggressive stick in your brain because your brain suck the negative much harder than the positive.
That's true.
We are more willing to believe the negative than the positive.
Mm.
Actually, sometimes we don't want to hear the positive.
Mm. Yes. Right, James.
Yeah. So, but the thing is, how do you perceive yourself what changed between you from yesterday to today? What are you achieved? What do you see yourself? And that is the competition that you should have with yourself, not with others.
Mm.
Because you will always find someone to complain about what you do, or is better than what you do, or you do better than what you do. You'll
Mm.
find always that.
Mhm.
But what you can do, where you can improve. You
Yeah,
know,
but on the other side, though, Mara, you've also got people who are giving that feedback who actually do respect you, and they do it
absolutely,
out of love, you
absolutely,
know, and
absolutely,
yeah,
absolutely,
so
absolutely.
yeah, so it's perhaps difficult, but what it does do, it enables you to reflect on your own behavior, I
Mm.
think,
Yeah,
and to say, well, is this actually true? What's my experience
Mm.
in my interactions with others or whatever?
absolutely, absolutely.
So do you
It's always dependent from who come from the
feedback?
the
Yeah,
feedback. Yeah.
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 So
That's what I love
No,
about the tools like Harrison and LSI. So you do the assessment yourself and um, you can gain a lot of self-awareness just through doing that individual test, right? Because you're basically explaining what your preferences are and how you like to work with people and in workplaces. And it's reflecting back to you, okay, out of these 12 paradoxes, you sit about here. In terms of behaviors that you show, and then you get the team results that you do a lot of, James, where you're working with bigger teams, and they're assessing each other, or at least all the staff might be assessing a certain leader's behaviors, and that's another whole layer of self-awareness for that leader, isn't it? Because now they're suddenly seeing what their staff think of them. So they've got this self-perception, and then there's this perception of how others are experiencing them. And is that something where you find that a lot of self-awareness is generated through that feedback from other people?
are you talking to Mara?
Oh, no, to you, James, when you do the team, the Harrison assessments with teams, and they're reflecting back to a manager, for example.
Yeah.
Um, it's
Well,
mm,
well, I want to see that. I want to see their viewpoint on it. That's what I ask is, I want to get the context around, what that means to them.
mhm,
And um, but usually it's on an individual basis. So I talk to an individual team member who's given feedback that isn't necessarily good to a manager. Then I start talking to the manager around this, and I don't say you are this or you are that or whatever. I just want to understand where they're coming from and help each of them understand that their viewpoint isn't necessarily the viewpoint. It's just their experience, because other people may have a completely different, a way of interacting. And
what Mara was saying,
having,
one person's experience of that person is not.
of course, yes. So we just narrow it down to on an individual basis, and we help people have the right sort of conversations on an individual level. And that works quite well.
Okay.
You're not going to get it with everybody, because some people are totally resistant. I'm sure you've experienced that, both of you. And that's their call. It's their life. Hey.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Wish them well. We'll move on.
That's really hard, especially when they're creating dynamics that are affecting other people.
Yeah, but usually when you're in that sort of situation, what they're effectively doing is talking themselves out of a job.
But Mara, you see this in relationships all the time when you're doing couples counseling, that one partner is not aware of how the other partner is experiencing them.
Yes. And that is because people get in a hook of do not understand, do not listen to each other properly. Because people in their conversation, they usually say what they want. But many times we just stop listening, or we don't want to listen, because we are more focused on protect ourselves and not to escalate in conversation and do not get hurt. And then, like happened today, is they find out they don't want to stay anymore in the relationship, and someone say, "Oh, I didn't know about that." No, probably you knew, you didn't want to look at it. No, it happens, and it's what we do. It's what we do. We don't want to discuss, because discuss is hurtful, and when we are in a hurtful position, our brain try to keep us far away from the hurt.
Yeah.
And then we miss stuff. We miss what actually can work.
That's a really good point, because one of the key qualities of self-awareness, back to that question, is the ability to be curious, not defensive.
Yeah.
No, that's in your model, isn't it, James? That your wisdom model, curiosity. Yeah. And the ability in a situate relationship to, instead of getting offended by what someone's saying, is to say, wow, I didn't realize that I was having that effect, or that that's how you were feeling. That takes a lot of courage, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It takes a lot of courage to admit you were wrong as well.
I think thanks and sorry are the two hardest words in the world. People don't say that. Sorry, I was wrong. We don't like to do that.
Is that pride that gets in the way there, Mara?
Yeah, sorry?
Is that pride that stops that? Or?
Yeah, pride is an ego, because a relationship, any kind of relationship, is about is a power dynamic. Yeah, is a power and control. Who is right, who is wrong, and or become who is right, who is wrong. Who is me against you? Okay, so when you have a healthy relationship, you talk about we, what we can do. It's we, it's a us, no? We do this, we do that. When we are struggling, we start pointing and say, you did this, I did that. You always do that. We start to use this absolute, and is about, at one point, is about my safety and my victory against yours.
Yeah, that's right.
And
you must see in your experience with couples that that's when it becomes impossible to get resolution.
Becoming possible, feeling is something very important. become impossible until if they want to do the job, they can do that. They can turn around and then can actually have a better relationships. It's about how involved they still in with this relationship, but is not only romantic, but is in any sector of our life. How much you want to be involved with this person again, you know, because a partnership, a business partnership, is a relationship without the emotional, the intimacy involved. But it's the same. You need a big amount of friendship, trust, commitment. You need respect. You must respect each other. Otherwise, you don't have a relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why it's fascinating to have you in on the conversation, because relationship, with your experience in relationship counseling, and then it is the same in a business environment, just minus the intimacy. Yeah, but the same issues come up, that ability to be open and curious and have the courage to face your blind spots and your ugly bits that someone else might be reflecting back to you that is a problem. And the resistance, I think, comes when you mention resistance, James, that's just someone just putting the walls up because they do not want to look at that stuff.
Look, all I can say is, I mean, you're talking about relationships, Maro. The biggest change to my relationship was exactly learning to say I'm sorry, and I found that really, really difficult.
Yeah.
But when I finally got over that hurdle and be able to say, no, I'm not perfect. No, I got it wrong. I'm sorry.
How did you get over that hurdle, James?
With great difficulty. You know, it was. I can't pinpoint an exact time, exact moment, but you know, sometimes it's just waking up to realizing this is not about me. It's about, as Mara said earlier, it's about we. It's about us. You know, well, I could actually on reflection, I can say what it was, and that was the bankruptcy. I had to put my hand up. My fault. I had to do it, and everything sort of improved from that point on, you know, and I'm forever grateful to this day that she didn't walk away, because I wouldn't have blamed her if she did. So, so it was a good long hard look at that. Makes you look in the mirror long and hard.
So, Mauro, how do you encourage people to say those two words?
Well, you need to rebuild a friendship. Without a friendship, you cannot have a conversation. So what I do is, usually, if they have this circle of negative thought between each other, I stop them. I ask them to stop and look what is good. So their work is look what your partner do good for you. And they usually say, but if the shoe's still around, okay, I don't have to say anything. No, because we know that you're upset for that. That won't change. That won't change. What's new here is look what is good. And point out what is good. So when you start to talk about positive things, then you start to have a better relationship, because it's not so flooded with negativity.
So that's similar, Mara. That's similar to the self-esteem one, isn't it? Where let's look at what you've done well in your life. You know,
well,
look at the positive. Look at the
therapy,
same thing, isn't it?
If you do therapy, any kind of therapy, any kind of coaching, if you look only what is only, if you focus on what doesn't work, it doesn't help.
No.
You must look what is good here. Okay, what is good?
Yeah.
What we can use to as a press, as a compressor for the positivity to come out. Then my job is look at who is the most open between the two, okay, and then I work with that. partner A is more open to the partner than the partner B, because it's enough that you change one of the two, or you change all together. Yeah.
Yep.
It's like a two wheels, not running around in the circle. As soon as you stop the circle, you move the other one, they start to move back together. Otherwise, they crash. Yeah. So when you do that, as happened today, of the crash, and there's nothing to do, or they start running the same ways.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a breaking point. It's either it's a make or break point.
Yeah, make a break.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But interestingly, I just looked up some. I just asked AI what are the top qualities of self-awareness, and they say it's present moment attention, it's self-knowledge, emotional intelligence, body awareness, physical sensations within their body, mental clarity, contextual understanding, so grasping how environmental, cultural, social factors shape their experience and the experiences of others.
Yeah.
Receptivity, remaining open to new information that might challenge their existing beliefs or perspectives, and discernment, distinguishing between what's helpful and unhelpful in terms of patterns. That's a lovely summary. Probably should have looked that up at the start.
Just stop there for a second. Mara, do you need to go? You were talking about time.
Yes.
You need to be away by 12. That's all.
Yeah.
I just want.
I have a client that's coming back now. Emotional awareness is what us boys, we should learn to do, because we don't have that. What I try to teach to all my clients, especially men, look what your partner do. Learn from them, because we grow up, but we don't have to cry. We have to suck it up, tough up. Don't talk about the problem. No, we need to talk about the problem. We must learn to be connected with ourselves and understand that today women have a different lifestyle than 30 years ago. If we don't change that, we cannot have a good relationship. That's it.
Well said.
We can nagging and say it's their fault. It's not their fault. We have to change. That's it. Anyway, thank you guys. Have to go. I love you so much.
Okay, thank